Hi, this is Sarah Newton here from GenYGuide.com, and I'm here to answer a question that was asked me by Jake Pearce, and that is, what is the difference between Generation Y and Generation C? Now, first of all, let me tell you, my definition of Generation Y goes from 1982 to 2001, and it's in line with Howe and Strauss. And while I acknowledge there's differences between a Gen Y born in the 80s versus a Gen Y born in the late 90s, for me that definition in the UK has held true. So what I see is that children born within those age groups do share certain characteristics and certain values. So and Generation C to me is a generation of people that's ageless, that really likes to be connected and really interacts with technology extremely well, understands it and loves it basically. So the first difference therefore is that Generation Y is defined to an age group and Generation C is ageless. I think the second biggest distinction that we need to make is Generation Y is defined by many things, technology just being one of them. So they're also defined by how they were parented, by how the school system treated them, by what was going on socially and economically at the time they were growing up. Generation C is only categorised by one thing, and that is that they're connected and they love technology and love interacting with each other on technology. Another big distinction here is that we can't assume every Gen Y loves technology. Yes, they grew up with it. Yes, it's important, but not for all children. And I certainly speak to young people and older Gen Ys, every day that haven't got that love for technology that I have, for example. So to assume that every Gen Y loves technology is sometimes a little bit short-sighted. Whereas every Gen C would absolutely love technology because they want to be connected by technology. So do I think it's important to define Generation Y and Generation C? Well, I do think it's important to define Generation Y. I think it's important for us to define generations socially, so we can see what's going on in the world, so we can understand and hopefully help the generations grow up and become responsible citizens. However, Generation C, I think the only important reason to categorise that would be for marketing purposes. I don't see any social reason why we should categorise Generation C, but I think it is important that marketers understand Generation C. And why, you may ask? Well, marketers, if they make the mistake of thinking that everybody that's connected online and is interacting online is a Generation Y, then that's a really big mistake. And if they also decide that every Generation Y is connected online, then that's also a big mistake. So they need to understand this Generation C, firstly, because they're a wide-ranging age group. So let me give you an example. If you were trying to market to me, and I'm a Generation C, and you built a blog that was very Gen Y, I would find that very confusing. And if you've ever looked at any Generation Y blogs, and I love them, but I do find them confusing, they're very hard for me to get around, and I find it difficult to get to the information I need. Now that's fine, because that blog isn't built for me, it's built for other Gen Ys who really get it. And I think that this is the difference between, yes, I can multitask, but I can't really multi-think like a Gen Y. So I need a blog that's got a bit more structure, it walks me through a little bit more and shows me exactly how to find the information I want. So if a marketer was to make a mistake and market to me and think that, oh well, because you love technology, you must have this Gen Y mindset, they would really put me off, because I wouldn't understand, the blog that they were building, for example. So that's why it's important for marketers to distinguish between these two. Just because someone's connected and they like technology does not mean that they think like Generation Y. They come from all generations, from the baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, and Generation Z coming up, behind Gen Y. So they all have different wants and needs, and you can't just clump them all together. Their overriding thing that does, clump them all together is their love of technology, but for each generation, how they use that will be very different. So that's my little piece there on what's the difference between Generation Y and Generation C. Like I say, everyone has a different opinion on this, and they are just my thoughts. I'm not saying that this is the answer. Just my thoughts. I've been working with Generation Y millennials now for 14 years, so this is coming from my observations of being with them nearly every day. Well, thank you, Jake, for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Bye bye.